Hello guys, welcome back to another awesome roller coaster review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Wildcat, which is a GCI located at HersheyPark in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I'm going to be talking about my thoughts, but first let's start with the statistics. It sits at a height of 105 feet, has a top speed of 50 miles per hour, has a track length of around 3,183 feet of track, and also features an 5-foot drop. So the stats on here seem pretty impressive. And speaking of GCIs, this was actually the first GCI to ever be built, which is pretty impressive. So, and people do complain about this ride being one of the weaker GCIs, and I do think it's one of the weaker GCIs, but people do complain about this roller coaster being unbearable and one of the worst roller coasters out there. And I want to talk about this real quick. From what I thought when I rode in 2018, I did not think it was that bad. I rode this coaster back in 2018 when I went to HersheyPark, and I surprisingly found it to be a pretty fun ride. While it definitely was not the best GCI I've done, I've ridden plenty of GCIs, and it definitely is on the weaker end from what I've done so far. But it definitely has a promising layout. I definitely think the layout does have potential. Now, I do wish they could see this ride one day, but I just don't think they will. I think a retrack would probably be the best fit because this is the original GCI, so you gotta keep the classic GCI still operating. And I mean, it definitely was a shaky ride, but it wasn't unbearable. Like, a lot of people say this is like the most painful ride in the park, and it definitely was far from that. It was far from giving me a headache too. Like, I surprisingly didn't get a headache after this ride. And I definitely thought this coaster had some pretty decent airtime, and the turns were really fun. And overall, the layout was just very promising. It definitely gave me, just thinking about it now, it definitely kind of makes me think of Grizzly, except without all the trees. So let's get into the ride real quick. So you leave the station, you go to like this little turn, and then you go through this little like airtime hill, which you don't really get any airtime. It's just to build some momentum to the lift hill. So you go up the lift hill, and then you reach a height of 105 feet, which this coaster actually looks taller than it actually is because of the terrain. So you go down this really big drop. This is an 85-foot drop. It's a curved drop as well, and it's a really good drop. I thought it was good for what it was. So then you go through this little left turn, and you go through a little airtime hump, which you don't get too much airtime there. So then you go into another airtime hill, which you actually get a decent amount of airtime. So then you go through this little right turn, and the turns aren't very bland or anything. Like, they do seem bland, but like this was the first GCI, so I'm not giving it too much crap. So then you go to another airtime hill to another turn, and then you go through another airtime hill, which you actually get some pretty good air there. So then you go into a little slower airtime hill, and then you go into another pop of air, and through this really like wide helix. And I'll say this was the roughest part of the ride. It definitely was pretty shaky here, but it did get unbearable, which was good. So then you go through a final airtime hump into the final brakes. And speaking of these final brakes, we gotta talk about this real quick, because these brakes, this is gonna be a meme. Just listen to this.
Why does it make poor seal noises?
HersheyPark, you may want to fix the brakes, because it sounds like a seal, like he's dying or something. I don't know. It's really funny though. It is like, everyone's told me that the brakes do make really funny noises, and it definitely did not disappoint. It was hilarious when it made those noises. But talking about my overall thoughts on Wildcat, I thought it was a good ride. I do think people give this one too much crap. I think it definitely had some good airtime, and it overall was a nice ride. So for its overall score, I'm going to be giving it a 7 out of 10. That's because it wasn't like the best ride ever, but it was good. I definitely thought it had some good moments in it. Like, it wasn't like the best GCI I've done. It definitely is. Of the 3 wooden coasters at HersheyPark, I definitely thought this was the weakest. I do think Comet and Lightning Racer are better. And that's just my take on Wildcat at HersheyPark. Comment down below what are your thoughts on this ride. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more videos in the future. Also, thank you guys a lot for watching. Don't forget to check out Theme Park Guy Productions on Instagram for more updates and content. I'll see you guys next time. Have a theme-tacular day.